Predator Badlands takes everything we know about the Predator franchise, the honor, the hunt, the brutality, and gives it something new, heart, tragedy, and the biggest connection to Alien we've seen yet. Dan Trachtenberg's latest entry after Prey and Killer of Killers doesn't just expand the Predator universe, it merges it with the Alien timeline in a way that feels both epic and deeply personal. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master, and today we're diving deep into one of the wildest sci-fi crossovers we've ever seen. By the time the credits roll, we've gone from watching a rejected runt Yautja to witnessing the birth of something far greater. A new kind of hunter who understands life, not just death. So let's break down everything that happens in Predator Badlands ending, how Deck's story transforms him, what that shocking final twist means, and how it all ties into the larger Alien vs. Predator universe. Deck's journey from outcast to true hunter. The film begins by painting Deck as the least likely hero. He's small for a Yautja, born weaker, ridiculed by his clan and despised by his father Nor. For Nor, weakness is a disease, one that must be purged. But Deck's brother Quay sees something different in him, a spark of potential, a will to prove himself. Quay's faith costs him his life. When Deck sets his sights on hunting the Kalisk, a mythical, unkillable beast from the planet Jenna, his father sees it as foolishness. Yet Quay secretly helps him escape to Jenna, defying his father's orders, and pays the ultimate price for it. Nor kills Quay, sealing Deck's motivation for the rest of the story. This act sets the emotional tone of Badlands. Deck isn't hunting for sport like his kind usually do. He's hunting for identity, for belonging. Every moment on Jenna tests his survival, intelligence, and morality in ways no traditional Yautja ritual ever could.
Let's get out of here!
A predator and a synthetic walk into a hunt. When Deck arrives on Jenna, it's immediately clear that this planet is unlike anything he's faced before. The flora is alive, the fauna is terrifying, and everything wants him dead. But amid this chaos, he encounters someone unexpected. Thea, a Weyland-Yutani synthetic. The inclusion of Weyland-Yutani, the infamous corporation from the Alien films, is huge. It's the first time a Predator movie directly folds the company into its main story, officially linking both universes. Thea isn't your typical android. She's curious, compassionate, and carries the trademark Weyland curiosity for things she probably shouldn't meddle with. In this case, the Callisk. But she's also different from the corporation's usual amoral scientists. She sees value in Deck beyond being a specimen. As the film progresses, Thea becomes Deck's unlikely ally, teaching him things even his tribe couldn't. Observation, empathy, patience. Her logic and his instinct form a unique bond, one that's put to the test when they're joined by another unexpected creature, Bud. Bud looks like comic relief at first, a small, blue, primate-like creature with a mischievous streak, but his affection for Deck and Thea adds a softer edge to the grim hunt. The trio's chemistry feels almost like a twisted family dynamic, the stoic warrior, the analytical android, and the hyperactive alien pet. When Deck leaves Bud behind to prove his worth, it feels like a classic Predator move, the lone hunter's pride. But the movie cleverly uses this moment to show Deck's flaw. He still believes independence equals strength. This comes full circle later when Bud's true nature is revealed in one of the movie's most emotional twists. Bud isn't just an alien sidekick. She's actually an infant Callisk. And the massive beast that Deck has been hunting is her mother. This revelation reframes everything. Deck realizes his so-called hunt is actually a massacre orchestrated by Weyland-Yutani, with Tessa, the Thea's evil twin, leading the operation to capture the Callisk for corporate experimentation. Deck versus Tessa. The hunter becomes the hunted. After Thea and Dek are captured by Tessa's forces, the movie fully shifts gears into its Alien-verse crossover territory. Tessa represents everything Weyland-Yutani stands for: ruthless ambition, greed, and an utter lack of empathy. She's also visually chilling, a synthetic mirror of Thea, but colder, sharper, and deadlier. Dek, stripped of his weapons, is forced to survive using nothing but his wits. And this is where Badlands really embraces the survivalist tone that made Prey so memorable. He crafts new weapons from the planet's ecosystem: explosive caterpillars, corrosive plants, and organic armor made from the hides of fallen beasts. He even befriends a new companion, a slug-like creature capable of firing acid projectiles. It's his makeshift shoulder cannon, and it's both a brilliant and hilarious callback to Predator tech. Through this montage, we see Dek's evolution, not just as a hunter, but as a thinker. He's finally understanding what it means to adapt rather than dominate. It's a lesson both his father and his species never learned. Bud's mother and the tragic fate of the Kalisk. When Dek reunites with Bud, he realizes that the massive creature Weyland-Yutani captured isn't a mindless monster. It's Bud's mother, and she spared Dek's life earlier for a reason. That single moment, when the Kalisk had Dek at her mercy but didn't kill him, suddenly makes sense. It wasn't weakness, it was mercy, something Dek now mirrors. Together, Dek, Thea, and Bud launch a daring assault on Weyland-Yutani's camp to free the Kalisk. What follows is one of the best Predator action sequences in years. Brutal hand-to-hand combat, creative traps, and pure chaos. Tessa, piloting a massive cargo loader in a clear homage to Aliens, faces off against Dek in a final showdown. It's a twisted reflection of Ripley versus the Queen alien, only this time it's a synthetic fighting a predator. The death of Tessa and the price of victory. The battle culminates in tragedy and triumph. Dek's slug companion sacrifices itself to save him, blowing up one of Tessa's machines in a move that's both heroic and oddly emotional for a slimy creature. Thea and Bud finally release the Kalisk mother, who tears through Weyland-Yutani's troops in an absolute rampage. She kills Tessa, or so it seems, but Badlands throws one final curveball. Tessa activates the stolen cryobombs inside the Callisk, freezing her from the inside out and then detonating her body. The Callisk explodes in a mix of beauty and horror, leaving Bud alone and Dek devastated. It's a shocking, almost poetic conclusion. Nature's apex predator destroyed by human greed and artificial mimicry. But justice comes swiftly. When Tessa crawls from the wreckage, half destroyed and sparking, Bud avenges her mother by ripping the android's head off with her tiny yet surprisingly powerful claws. For Dek, it's not the victory he imagined, but it's the one he's earned. The true trophy. What makes a predator? Yautja measure their worth through trophies, but Badlands cleverly redefines what that means. Dek didn't kill the Kalisk, Tessa did. Yautja law, the creature that kills the apex predator becomes the new apex. So when Dek claims Tessa's head as his prize, it isn't just symbolic, it's his proof. He's not just a killer. He's a true hunter who understands the balance of nature, respect, and mercy. This moment ties beautifully back to the original 1987 Predator, where the creature only fought Dutch's team after seeing them prove their strength. Dek now embodies that same philosophy. Not power for the sake of dominance, but for the sake of challenge and balance. With his trophy in hand, Dek returns Yautja Prime to settle one final score: his father.
The father-son duel.
Yautja
Prime. Dek's homecoming isn't one of triumph. Nior still refuses to acknowledge his son's victory. To him, Dek is still the runt, the mistake, the disgrace. Their confrontation is raw and brutal. Father and son clash in a fight that mirrors both tradition and rebellion. Njord fighting to maintain his authority, and Dek fighting for the right to exist. Dek's new armor, forged beasts, glows faintly as he blocks his father's attacks. The fight is evenly matched until Bud, now noticeably larger, intervenes. The young Kalisk, having grown from her journey, leaps at Njord and bites his head clean off. It's grotesque, but also strangely poetic. The child of the creature Dek was sent to kill avenges the brother Dek lost, killing the father who destroyed their family. Dek doesn't celebrate. He doesn't roar in victory. He simply looks at Bud and Thea, realizing he's found something far more important than glory. He's found a family. The final twist, the arrival of Dek's mother. Just when everything seems calm, Badlands delivers its biggest tease yet. A Yautja ship enters the atmosphere, its shadow looming large over the horizon. Thea asks if it's more hunters coming for revenge. Dek shakes his head. It's not them, he says quiet. It's her. The camera pans up as the ship lands, revealing the symbol of a matriarch clan, Dek's mother's clan. It's a jaw-dropping way to end the film. We've never seen a true female Yautja leader on screen before, and the idea that Dek's mother might be the next major force in this universe opens endless possibility. Is she proud? Is she here to recruit him, or to finish what Njord started? Either way, it sets up Predator Badlands 2 for an entirely new kind of story, one that might explore the matriarchal side of Yautja society, their cultural laws, and their hidden alliances with other species.
Many of your kind have come here.
What Predator Badlands means for the alien connection. Weyland-Yutani's involvement is no mere Easter egg. Their failed mission to capture the Callisk hints at a much larger project, one that could lead directly into the events of Alien Romulus or future alien entries. The Callisk's regenerative biology, coupled with Weyland-Yutani's obsession with bioengineering, feels like a perfect precursor to their later experiments with the xenomorphs. The corporation's willingness to manipulate worlds, life forms, and technology mirrors the same arrogance that doomed them in Alien centuries later. And with Thea still active, Weyland-Yutani has a direct line to Dek's world. She might become the bridge between Predator honor and human corruption, a synthetic who understands both life and death better than her creators.
Dangerous planet in the universe.
Our nerdy thoughts. Predator Badlands ends not with closure, but with transformation. Dek's journey mirrors that of every great Predator story: survival, honor, and evolution, but adds a deeply emotional core. He starts as an outcast trying to prove himself, and ends as a leader who redefines what it means to be a hunter. With Thea by his side and Bud growing into her mother's legacy, Dek represents the next generation of Yautja, one that doesn't just hunt for pride, but for purpose. And with the arrival of his mother and Weyland-Yutani still looming, Predator Badlands 2 is set up to take the franchise to its most ambitious place yet, uniting Alien and Predator under one terrifying, awe-inspiring banner. Because in the Badlands, survival isn't the goal anymore. Evolution is. And that wraps up the ending of Predator Badlands 2025, a brutal, emotional, and game-changing chapter for the Predator universe. Dek's story might be over for now, but with that final tease, things are only just getting started. If you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the Alien and Predator worlds, and drop your wildest theories about Dek's mother in the comments below. Until next time, stay sharp, stay hunted, and remember, on this channel, we ain't got time to bleed.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.